Deep in the heart of a dense, forgotten forest, a path of weathered stones stretches into the shadows, its purpose as mysterious as the hands that laid it centuries ago. This ancient road doesn't lead to a bustling city or a sacred temple. It simply stops, swallowed by the wilderness, as if its builders vanished mid-journey. Roads are meant to connect, to guide, to serve a purpose, but what happens when they don't? What happens when they lead nowhere? These forgotten pathways scattered across the globe have baffled historians, archaeologists, and adventurers for generations. Who built them? Why were they abandoned? And perhaps most intriguing of all, what secrets do they hold? In this video, we'll uncover the enigma of these ancient roads that seem to defy logic. We'll journey through history, piecing together clues left behind by civilizations long gone. We'll explore the science behind these structures, the stories they might tell, and the theories that attempt to explain their existence. From the overgrown trails of the Amazon to the sun-baked stones of the Middle East, these roads are more than just remnants of the past. They're invitations to wonder, to question, and to imagine the lives of those who walked them. So, are you ready to step onto one of history's greatest mysteries? Let's begin. Ancient roads have a way of capturing our imagination, don't they? They're more than just paths carved into the earth. They're time capsules, whispering stories of the people who walked them centuries or even millennia ago. Think about it. These roads were the lifelines of entire civilizations, connecting cities, cultures, and commerce. Roads like the Roman Appian Way stretching across Italy, or the Inca Trail winding through the Andes, are celebrated for their engineering brilliance and the sheer scale of their ambition. They remind us of what humans are capable of when we dream big and work together. But then there are the roads that don't fit neatly into the narrative. The ones that leave us scratching our heads, wondering what purpose they served, or if they even had one at all. Take the Nazca Lines in Peru, for example. While most of us think of the giant animal figures etched into the desert, fewer know about the intricate pathways that crisscross the landscape. These aren't just random trails, they're deliberate, carefully laid out roads that seem to lead nowhere, or at least nowhere we can easily explain. Then there's Malta, where ancient stone roads cut across the island, some of them disappearing into the sea, as if they were meant to connect to something that's long since vanished beneath the waves. What makes these roads so intriguing is the mystery they carry. Unlike the well-documented highways of the Roman Empire or the Inca, these lesser-known paths don't come with a clear explanation. Were they ceremonial routes, trade paths, or something entirely different, something we haven't even thought of yet? They challenge our assumptions about ancient societies, forcing us to question how much we really know about their lives, their beliefs, and their priorities. And that's where the allure lies. These roads aren't just relics of the past, they're puzzles, inviting us to piece together the stories they've left behind. As we dig deeper into these enigmatic pathways, one thing becomes clear. Ancient roads are more than just physical structures. They're symbols of human curiosity, ambition, and the enduring desire to connect, whether it's to a neighboring town, a distant mountain, or something far beyond our understanding. And that's what makes them so endlessly fascinating. Imagine walking along an ancient road, its stones weathered by centuries, only to find it suddenly stops. No town, no temple, no destination in sight. What could this mean? Roads, by their very nature, are meant to connect, to lead somewhere. But the roads we're exploring today defy that logic. These are the so-called roads that lead nowhere, ancient pathways that end abruptly, often without any clear connection to settlements, trade routes, or known landmarks. They're incomplete, mysterious, and in many cases utterly baffling. So how do experts define these enigmatic paths? Archaeologists and historians look for specific clues. A road might be considered a road to nowhere if it ends suddenly in the wilderness or if it's disconnected from any known cities, villages, or significant sites. These roads often feel like fragments of a larger puzzle, pieces that don't quite fit into the picture we have of ancient civilizations. To study them, researchers use a combination of modern tools like satellite imagery and on-the-ground surveys. Satellite images can reveal patterns that are invisible from the surface: lines, shapes, and structures hidden beneath vegetation or soil. Ground surveys, on the other hand, allow experts to examine the road's construction, materials, and alignment up close. But here's where it gets fascinating. Just because a road doesn't lead to a city or marketplace doesn't mean it was purposeless. Many of these roads may have served functions that we, centuries later, struggle to comprehend. Some could have been ceremonial, used for religious processions or rituals. Others might have had astronomical significance, aligning with celestial events like solstices or equinoxes. And then there are those that may have held symbolic meaning, marking boundaries, territories, or even spiritual pathways. These roads remind us that ancient societies often saw the world in ways that go beyond our modern, practical understanding of infrastructure. The mystery deepens when we consider how these roads were built. Constructing a road in ancient times was no small feat. It required planning, labor, and resources. So why would a civilization invest so much effort into a road that seemingly goes nowhere? This question lies at the heart of what makes these roads so intriguing. They challenge us to think beyond the obvious, to consider that their purpose might have been profound, even if it's lost to us now. As we continue to explore these ancient pathways, we'll uncover not just the physical remnants of the past, but also the minds and motivations of the people who built them. What drove them to create these roads? What stories do they hold? The answers may not be straightforward, but that's what makes the journey so compelling. High above the arid plains of southern Peru, the Nazca Desert stretches out like a vast, sandy canvas. Yet, etched into this barren landscape are some of the most enigmatic creations of the ancient world, the Nazca Lines. These massive geoglyphs, some stretching over several hundred feet, are not just random scribbles in the sand. They are intricate designs ranging from geometric shapes to depictions of animals, plants, and even human-like figures. But among these patterns, it's the long, straight pathways that truly stand out. These roads, crisscrossing the desert floor, seem to lead nowhere, or perhaps to something we've yet to fully understand. Imagine standing on the ground, looking out over the desert. You'd see nothing but dry earth and faint impressions, but from the air, the Nazca Lines reveal their true grandeur. These pathways, some as wide as highways, stretch for miles in perfectly straight lines, cutting through the terrain with astonishing precision. How did the Nazca people, who lived over 2,000 years ago, achieve such accuracy without the tools we take for granted today? And why did they create these massive designs, visible only from above? For decades, researchers have grappled with these questions, proposing a range of theories. Some suggest the lines served as an astronomical calendar, aligning with celestial events like solstices or the positions of stars. Others believe they were part of ritualistic processions, pathways for ceremonies or pilgrimages that connected the Nazca people to their gods or ancestors. Then there are those who argue the lines were a form of communication, perhaps messages to deities or even extraterrestrial beings. Yet despite all these ideas, no single theory has gained widespread acceptance. The Nazca Lines remain a mystery, their true purpose as elusive as ever. What's truly remarkable is the sheer scale and precision of these designs. The Nazca people didn't just sketch these lines, they meticulously planned and executed them, removing the dark, iron-rich surface stones to expose the lighter soil beneath. The result is a striking contrast that has endured for centuries, defying erosion and the passage of time. The precision of these pathways, some running perfectly straight for miles, suggests an advanced understanding of geometry and surveying, far beyond what we might expect from an ancient civilization. As we gaze at these ancient roads, it's hard not to feel a sense of wonder. Who were the people who created them? What drove them to invest so much time and effort into these monumental designs? And what secrets do these pathways hold, waiting to be uncovered? The Nazca Lines remind us that the past is full of mysteries, and sometimes the answers lie not in the destination, but in the journey itself. Imagine walking across the sun-soaked limestone landscapes of Malta, only to stumble upon a series of deep, parallel grooves etched into the rock. These are the cart ruts of Malta, a network of mysterious tracks that stretch for miles, crisscrossing the island in seemingly random patterns. At first glance, they might look like the remnants of ancient wagon wheels, but their complexity and scale tell a far more intriguing story. What could these ruts have been used for, and why do some of them abruptly end at cliffs or vanish beneath the waves? One of the most widely accepted theories is that these ruts were part of an ancient transportation network used to move goods and materials across the island. The grooves are often found in pairs, spaced just wide enough to fit the wheels of a cart or sled. But this explanation doesn't account for the more puzzling aspects of the ruts. Why do some tracks lead directly to the edge of cliffs, as if the people who used them were aiming for the sea? And how do we explain the ruts that disappear underwater, suggesting they were carved when sea levels were significantly lower? Some experts propose that the cart ruts might have served an agricultural purpose, perhaps as part of an irrigation system or a way to guide water across the rocky terrain. Others suggest they could have been used to transport heavy stones for construction, given Malta's rich history of megalithic temples. But even these theories fall short of explaining the sheer scale and complexity of the network. The ruts are found all over the island, often crossing each other in intricate patterns that seem to defy logic. Perhaps the most compelling question is how old these ruts really are. While some researchers link them to the Bronze Age or even earlier, others argue they could predate known civilizations on Malta altogether. If that's the case, who created them and for what purpose? The lack of definitive answers only deepens the mystery, leaving us to wonder if these ruts are remnants of an advanced ancient society or evidence of a lost chapter in human history. As one archaeologist put it, the cart ruts of Malta are one of those rare enigmas that challenge everything we think we know about the past. Whether they were part of a practical system or something far more symbolic, their true purpose remains shrouded in time. And as long as they do, they'll continue to capture the imagination of anyone who dares to walk in the footsteps of the ancients. One of the most fascinating aspects of ancient Roman roads is how they often seem to defy logic. While we typically think of Roman engineering as the pinnacle of practicality, straight, efficient, and built to connect major cities and military outposts, there are roads that don't fit this mold. Some stretch into remote, seemingly insignificant areas, while others simply end abruptly in the middle of nowhere. These anomalies challenge our understanding of Roman priorities and reveal that their road system was about more than just functionality. Take, for example, the roads that wind deep into rugged, uninhabited landscapes. Why would the Romans go to such lengths to build pathways through areas with no obvious economic or military value? One theory suggests these roads weren't just about moving people or goods. They may have been tied to religious or spiritual practices, serving as routes to sacred sites or pilgrimage destinations. These roads could have been a way for the Romans to assert their presence in places they considered spiritually significant, blending their engineering prowess with their deep connection to the divine. Then there are the roads that simply stop, as if the builders abandoned them mid-construction. These dead-end paths are particularly puzzling. Were they part of a larger plan that was never completed, or were they intentionally designed to serve a specific short-term purpose, like a temporary military campaign? Some historians argue that these roads might have been strategic, providing access to resources or serving as escape routes during conflicts. Others believe they could have been symbolic, marking the boundaries of Roman influence or even acting as a form of psychological control over the regions they traversed. What's clear is that Roman roads weren't just about getting from point A to point B. They were a reflection of a complex worldview, one that balanced practicality with ideology, strategy with spirituality. These seemingly illogical roads invite us to reconsider how the Romans saw their empire, not just as a collection of cities and trade routes, but as a vast, interconnected network that served multiple purposes, both visible and hidden. They remind us that history is rarely as straightforward as it seems, and that even the most practical of civilizations had their mysteries. The Inca Empire, stretching across the Andes like a vast tapestry, is famous for its sprawling road system, an engineering marvel that connected distant corners of their domain. But not all roads lead to bustling cities or sacred sites. Some stretch into the wilderness, vanishing into the mist-shrouded mountains or disappearing into dense forests. These are the Inca roads to nowhere, mysterious pathways that seem to end abruptly, leaving modern explorers and historians scratching their heads. Why would the Inca, master builders and meticulous planners, construct roads that appear to lead to uninhabited or desolate areas? The answer may lie in the passage of time. What we see today as isolated fragments might have once been part of a grander network, sections of which have been lost to earthquakes, landslides, or the relentless march of nature. Imagine a road that once linked two thriving communities, now reduced to a faint trail swallowed by the jungle. These ghostly remnants remind us that even the most enduring human creations are not immune to the forces of nature. But there's more to these roads than meets the eye. The Inca were unparalleled in their ability to adapt to the harsh Andean terrain. Their roads were not just pathways but feats of engineering, carved into cliff faces, supported by stone retaining walls, and even suspended across ravines with woven fiber bridges. Some of these seemingly purposeless roads might have served as pilgrimage routes, military supply lines, or even ceremonial pathways leading to sacred spaces now forgotten. Others may have been strategic, offering access to resources like water, minerals, or agricultural lands that were vital to the empire's survival. What's truly fascinating is how these roads challenge our understanding of the Inca's worldview. They didn't just build for practicality, they built with intention, aligning roads with celestial events, natural landmarks, and spiritual beliefs. A road that seems to lead nowhere might have been a deliberate choice, guiding travelers toward a sacred mountain peak or a place of ritual significance. In this light, these enigmatic roads are not mistakes or dead ends. They are clues to a deeper, more profound connection between the Inca and their environment. As we walk these ancient paths today, we can't help but wonder what secrets they still hold. What stories are hidden in the stones beneath our feet? What purposes have been erased by time? The Inca roads to nowhere are more than just relics of a bygone era. They are invitations to explore, to question, and to imagine the world as the Inca saw it. A landscape rich with meaning, where every road, no matter how isolated, had its place in the grand design. Now, let's take a step into the skies, because for ancient civilizations, the heavens weren't just a backdrop, they were a blueprint. Many of these mysterious roads that seem to go nowhere might actually lead us to the stars. Across the globe, ancient peoples built pathways and monuments aligned with celestial events, weaving astronomy into the very fabric of their world. Take the Avenue of the Dead in Teotihuacan, Mexico, for example. This massive road stretches through the heart of the ancient city, perfectly aligned with the setting sun during the summer solstice. As the sun dips below the horizon, it casts a dramatic shadow along the avenue, as if the gods themselves were walking this sacred path. It's not just a road, it's a cosmic calendar, a connection between earth and sky. But this isn't an isolated case. Over in France, the Karnak stones stand in silent rows, stretching for miles across the landscape. These massive megaliths, dating back thousands of years, are arranged in such a way that they seem to mirror the movements of the sun and moon. Some researchers believe they were used to track solstices and equinoxes, turning the stones into a kind of prehistoric observatory. Imagine standing there, watching the sun rise perfectly between two stones on the longest day of the year. It's a moment that would have felt nothing short of magical. What's fascinating is how these alignments reveal a deep understanding of astronomy, long before telescopes or modern science. These ancient builders weren't just constructing roads, they were mapping the heavens, creating pathways that connected their daily lives to the rhythms of the cosmos. And it wasn't just practical, it was spiritual. For many of these cultures, the stars and planets were gods, and aligning their roads with celestial events was a way to honor those deities, to bring their presence into the heart of their cities and villages. Think about what this tells us about their worldview. These roads weren't just about getting from one place to another. They were about connecting with something greater, something eternal. They remind us that for ancient peoples, the universe wasn't a distant, unknowable void. It was a living, breathing presence, woven into every stone, every path, every step they took. And perhaps that's the real mystery of these roads, not where they lead, but what they mean. They're a testament to a time when humanity looked to the stars not just for guidance, but for meaning. And in that sense, maybe these roads don't lead nowhere after all. Maybe they lead us to a deeper understanding of the people who built them and the world they saw when they looked up at the night sky. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Silk Road isn't just its main arteries, those bustling trade routes we often hear about, but the quieter, lesser-known branches that stretch into the most remote corners of the world. These forgotten pathways, often winding through deserts, mountains, and dense forests, seem to lead nowhere at first glance. Yet their very existence hints at stories untold, purposes long obscured by the passage of time. Why would ancient traders carve such routes into the wilderness? The answer, as it turns out, is as varied as the landscapes they traverse. Some of these branches likely served as vital shortcuts, bypassing more dangerous or heavily trafficked routes. Imagine a caravan of merchants laden with silk, spices, and precious metals, choosing to navigate a narrow mountain pass rather than risk bandits or harsh weather on the main road. Others may have functioned as escape routes, providing safe passage for those fleeing conflict or seeking refuge. And then there are the roads that seem to defy logic, paths that curve into desolate valleys or vanish into the sands. These could have been conduits for cultural exchange, connecting isolated communities to the wider world, or perhaps even sacred routes used for pilgrimage or spiritual journeys. Tracing these forgotten branches today is a monumental challenge. Centuries of erosion, shifting landscapes, and human activity have left many of these roads buried under layers of soil or swallowed by dense vegetation. In some cases, the only evidence of their existence comes from faint wagon ruts etched into stone or the occasional artifact unearthed by archaeologists. Yet, even these fragments offer tantalizing clues about the lives of those who traveled them. What drove them to venture so far off the beaten path? What treasures or tragedies did they carry with them? The mystery of these forgotten routes reminds us that the Silk Road was far more than a simple trade network. It was a living, breathing web of human ambition, resilience, and curiosity. Each branch, no matter how obscure, tells a story of connection of people reaching across vast distances to share ideas, goods, and dreams. And as we continue to uncover these lost pathways, we're not just mapping ancient roads, we're piecing together the rich tapestry of our shared history. The deserts of our world hold secrets that whisper of a time when sand dunes were replaced by lush landscapes, and barren expanses were once thriving hubs of life and activity. Among these secrets are the ancient roads that crisscross the Sahara and the Arabian Peninsula, their purpose shrouded in mystery. These roads, etched into the earth, stretch for miles, connecting oases and settlements that were vital lifelines in an otherwise unforgiving environment. But here's where the mystery deepens. Some of these roads don't seem to lead anywhere at all. They vanish into the desert, their endpoints lost to time and shifting sands. What could these roads have been used for? One theory suggests they were part of a vast trade network, facilitating the movement of goods like salt, gold, and spices across the desert. Camels laden with treasures would have trudged along these paths, linking distant cultures and economies. Oases, those rare pockets of water and greenery, would have served as rest stops, offering respite to weary travelers and their animals. But why do some roads appear to lead to nothing but empty desert? The answer may lie in the ancient climate. Thousands of years ago, the Sahara and parts of the Arabian Peninsula were far greener than they are today. Rivers flowed where there is now only sand, and grasslands stretched as far as the eye could see. These roads may have once connected thriving communities or led to resources that have long since disappeared. Over time, as the climate shifted and the land became drier, these routes were abandoned, leaving behind ghostly traces of a world that no longer exists. It's a haunting reminder of how nature can rewrite human history, erasing what was once essential and leaving only questions in its wake. Could these roads also hint at forgotten technologies or knowledge? Some researchers speculate that ancient civilizations may have had a deeper understanding of their environment, mapping out routes that maximized efficiency and safety. Others suggest that these paths might have held spiritual or ceremonial significance, pointing towards sacred sites that have since been reclaimed by the desert. The truth is, we may never fully know. What we do know is that these roads are more than just lines in the sand. They are windows into a past that challenges our understanding of how humans adapt to and interact with their surroundings. As we trace these ancient paths, we're reminded of the fragility of human endeavors in the face of nature's power. The roads that once connected bustling trade hubs now lead to silence, their stories buried beneath layers of time and dust. Yet they endure as silent witnesses to a time when the desert was a very different place, offering us a glimpse into the resilience and ingenuity of those who came before us. Imagine walking through the dense jungles of Central America, where ancient stone paths rise above the forest floor, stretching into the distance. These are the Sakhbyob, the mysterious roadways of the Maya civilization. But here's the twist: some of these roads don't lead to bustling cities or grand temples. Instead, they seem to vanish into the wilderness, leaving us to wonder, what purpose did these paths serve? The Maya built their Sakhbyob with incredible precision, elevating them above the ground using stone and lime plaster. These roads connected major cities, trade hubs, and ceremonial centers, serving as vital arteries for travel and commerce. But not all Sakhbyob fit this practical mold. Some stretch for miles only to end abruptly in the middle of nowhere. No ruins, no settlements, just silence and mystery. So, why would the Maya construct roads that lead to nothing? One theory suggests these paths had a symbolic or spiritual significance. For the Maya, the world was deeply interconnected, with the physical and spiritual realms intertwined. Roads that seemingly went nowhere might have been pilgrimages to sacred spaces, where the journey itself held more importance than the destination. These routes could have been designed to guide people through rituals, connecting them to the cosmos or honoring their gods. Another possibility is that these roads were markers of power and prestige. building a sacbeob, especially one that didn't serve an obvious practical purpose, would have been a massive undertaking. It could have been a way for Maya rulers to showcase their authority, demonstrating their ability to command resources and labor for projects that transcended everyday need. The Maya also had a profound understanding of astronomy and often aligned their structures with celestial events. Could these enigmatic roads have been part of a larger cosmic design? Perhaps they were meant to mirror the paths of the stars or the movement of the sun, creating a physical representation of their spiritual beliefs. What's fascinating is that these roads offer us a glimpse into the Maya worldview, a culture where the tangible and intangible were deeply connected. Whether they were pathways for pilgrims, symbols of power, or cosmic alignments, the Sakhbyob remind us that the Maya saw the world in ways we're still striving to understand. And as we walk these ancient roads today, we're not just tracing their steps, we're stepping into their story, one that continues to unfold with every new discovery. But what if the roads themselves hold a story far older and more mysterious than the statues they were built to transport? On Easter Island, the so-called roads of the Moai stretch across the landscape like veins, connecting the quarries where the statues were carved to the ceremonial platforms where they were erected. These roads, made of compacted earth and stone, were engineering marvels in their own right, designed to handle the immense weight of the Moai as they were moved across the island. Some roads are straight and purposeful, while others curve unexpectedly, leading to places that seem to defy logic. What's particularly intriguing is that not all of these roads lead to finished destinations. Some end abruptly, as if the work was suddenly abandoned. Others trail off into remote areas of the island, far from any known settlement or ceremonial site. Why did the builders stop in their tracks? Were these roads part of a grander plan that was never completed? Or did they lead to something that has since been lost to time? One theory suggests that these unfinished roads might hold clues to the island's dramatic societal collapse. As resources dwindled and tensions rose, perhaps the islanders were forced to abandon their ambitious projects, leaving behind these haunting pathways as a testament to their once thriving civilization. The roads, then, become more than just practical tools. They're a window into the fragility of human achievement. A reminder that even the grandest societies can falter when faced with environmental and social pressures. As you look at these ancient roads winding through the rugged terrain of Easter Island, it's hard not to wonder what drove the islanders to build them in the first place. And what caused them to stop? The answers may remain buried in the island's soil, waiting for someone to uncover them. But for now, these roads stand as a silent yet powerful reminder of the rise and fall of a civilization that once thrived in one of the most remote places on Earth. When we think about ancient roads, it's easy to picture them winding through lush valleys or hugging the curves of rivers and coastlines. After all, water was the lifeblood of civilizations, providing not only sustenance but also natural pathways for trade and travel. Many ancient roads, like those of the Roman Empire or the Silk Road, were strategically placed to follow rivers, lakes, and coastlines, ensuring access to water for travelers and their animals. But what about the roads that seem to defy this logic? Why would ancient engineers build pathways through arid deserts or rugged mountains, seemingly ignoring the natural advantages of water sources? The answer lies in the ingenuity and determination of these early builders. In harsh environments where water was scarce, constructing a road wasn't just about convenience, it was about survival. Take, for example, the ancient Incan roads that crisscrossed the Andes. These roads, some of which reach altitudes of over 13,000 feet, were built in some of the most challenging terrain on Earth. Yet, they connected distant parts of the empire, from the dense jungles of the Amazon to the arid coastal deserts. How did they do it? The Incas used a combination of advanced engineering techniques, like terracing to stabilize slopes and stone-paved paths to withstand erosion. They even built suspension bridges made of woven grass which could span deep ravines and rivers. But even with such remarkable innovations, some roads still leave us scratching our heads. Why would a civilization choose to build a road through a barren desert or over a treacherous mountain pass when a river or coastline might offer an easier route? One possibility is that these roads served specific purposes, like military or religious functions, that outweighed the challenges of construction. In other cases, the roads might have been part of a larger network, connecting regions that were rich in resources but difficult to access. For instance, the ancient Persians built the Royal Road, which stretched over 1,500 miles, linking the empire's major cities. While some sections followed rivers, others ventured into dry plains and rugged hills, showcasing the builders' ability to adapt to diverse landscapes. What's truly fascinating is the mystery that still surrounds some of these roads. Why did certain paths lead to seemingly nowhere? Were they abandoned projects, or did they serve a purpose we haven't yet uncovered? The lack of written records from some ancient cultures only deepens the intrigue. For example, the Nazca Lines in Peru include long, straight pathways etched into the desert floor. Some researchers believe these were ceremonial roads, while others suggest they might have been part of an elaborate irrigation system. The truth remains elusive, reminding us that even with our modern technology, we're still piecing together the stories of these ancient engineers. The challenges these builders faced, whether it was crossing a desert, scaling a mountain, or bridging a river, reveal a level of resourcefulness that continues to inspire awe. They didn't just follow the path of least resistance, they carved their own paths, often with nothing but simple tools and an unwavering vision. And while we may never fully understand all the reasons behind their choices, one thing is clear. These roads are a testament to human ingenuity, connecting us not just to the past, but to the enduring spirit of exploration and innovation that defines us as a species. The Indus Valley civilization, flourishing over 4,000 years ago, is often hailed as one of the most advanced ancient societies, and its road networks are a testament to that sophistication. Stretching across what is now modern-day Pakistan and northwest India, these roads connected bustling cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, hubs of trade, culture, and governance. But what's truly fascinating and baffling are the roads that seem to lead nowhere. These mysterious pathways, meticulously planned and constructed, simply stop in the middle of nowhere, leaving archaeologists and historians scratching their heads. Some roads clearly served practical purposes, linking major urban centers and facilitating the movement of goods, people, and ideas. The uniformity in their design, with carefully laid bricks and drainage systems, reflects a level of urban planning that rivals even modern cities. Yet, when we look closer, we find roads that don't follow this logical pattern. They stretch out into the wilderness, ending abruptly without reaching any known settlements or landmarks. Why would such a highly organized society build roads that go nowhere? Were they part of a larger, now lost network, or do they hint at purposes we've yet to uncover? One theory suggests these roads might have been part of a ceremonial or symbolic system, perhaps connecting to sacred sites or serving processional routes for religious rituals. Another possibility is that they were intended for future expansion, a sign of the civilization's forward-thinking mindset. But without written records to guide us, these roads remain enigmatic, silent witnesses to a world we can only partially reconstruct. What's undeniable is the ingenuity behind their construction. The Indus Valley people didn't just build roads, they built them to last with precision and foresight that still impresses us today. Yet, the gaps in our understanding remind us that even the most advanced civilizations leave behind mysteries. These abandoned roads stretching into the unknown are a poignant reminder of how much history is still waiting to be discovered. Ancient roads often hold secrets far beyond their physical paths, and one of the most fascinating aspects is their connection to religion. Imagine a time when travel wasn't just about commerce or conquest, but about something deeper, faith. Many of these mysterious roads were built with spiritual intent, serving as pilgrimage routes or sacred pathways for religious processions. Take, for instance, the Camino de Santiago, a sprawling network of routes stretching across Europe, all leading to the shrine of St. James in Spain. For centuries, pilgrims have walked these roads not just as a journey of miles, but as a journey of the soul. The very act of traveling these paths was seen as a form of devotion, a way to connect with the divine. And it wasn't just in Europe. In ancient India, roads leading to towering temples like those in Varanasi or Madurai were constructed not merely for convenience, but as a reflection of spiritual priorities. These roads were often lined with symbolic markers, statues, and inscriptions, guiding pilgrims toward enlightenment. They weren't just physical routes, they were spiritual arteries pulsing with the lifeblood of belief. The builders of these roads invested immense resources and labor into their creation, not for profit or power, but to honor their gods and facilitate the spiritual journeys of their people. What's striking is how these roads reveal the values of the societies that built them. They tell us that for these ancient cultures, the sacred was just as important, if not more so, than the practical. The roads were a testament to their devotion, a way to bring the divine into the everyday. Even today, walking these paths can feel like stepping into the minds of those who came before us, understanding their priorities and their reverence for the unseen. So, the next time you see an ancient road that seems to lead nowhere, consider this. Perhaps it wasn't meant to take you to a physical destination, but to a spiritual one. These roads are more than just stone and dirt. They're a window into the hearts of those who built them, a reminder that the journey itself can be sacred. One of the most fascinating examples of ancient engineering and ambition lies in the sprawling networks of roads that once connected entire civilizations. Among these, the Persian Royal Road stands out as a marvel of its time. Stretching over 1,500 miles, this road linked the far reaches of the Persian Empire, from the bustling city of Susa in modern-day Iran to the coastal hub of Sardis in what is now Turkey. Imagine the sheer scale of such a project, roads carved through mountains, deserts, and plains, all to ensure that messages, goods, and armies could move swiftly across vast distances. But the Persian Royal Road is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. The Silk Road, an even more extensive network, wove its way across continents, connecting the East and West for centuries. Yet, despite their historical significance, many sections of these ancient roads remain shrouded in mystery. Some stretches of these roads have been meticulously studied, their paths traced, and their stories uncovered. But others, they simply vanish into the wilderness, their routes lost to time or geography. Why is it that such monumental achievements, built with such precision and purpose, still have sections that defy explanation? Part of the answer lies in the sheer logistical challenge of maintaining roads that spanned thousands of miles. In an era without modern machinery or communication, keeping these routes functional required constant effort. Landslides, floods, and the relentless passage of time could erase entire stretches, leaving behind only fragments for archaeologists to piece together. But the mystery goes beyond just physical challenges. These roads weren't just pathways for travel. They were lifelines of culture and commerce. The Silk Road, for instance, wasn't a single road but a vast web of routes that facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and even religions between distant lands. Silk from China, spices from India, and glassware from Rome all traveled these ancient highways, creating a tapestry of interconnectedness that shaped the world as we know it today. Yet, for all we know about their impact, there are still gaps in our understanding. Why did some sections fall into disuse while others thrived? What secrets lie buried beneath the untrodden paths of these ancient roads? Exploring these questions isn't just about uncovering the past, it's about understanding the ingenuity and resilience of the people who built and maintained these incredible networks. From the engineers who designed them to the merchants who traveled them, these roads tell a story of human ambition and adaptability. And as we continue to uncover their secrets, we're reminded that even the longest roads in history still have stories left to tell. Throughout history, warfare has shaped civilizations in countless ways, and one of its most enduring legacies lies beneath our feet: roads. Ancient roads, often seen as symbols of connectivity and trade, may have had a far more strategic purpose, serving as the arteries of empire. Take the Roman roads, for instance. These marvels of engineering weren't just about connecting towns or facilitating commerce. They were military superhighways designed to move legions swiftly across vast territories. The Romans understood that control over their empire depended on speed and efficiency, and their roads reflected that. Troops, supplies, and messages could travel at unprecedented speeds, allowing Rome to project power and respond to threats with remarkable precision. But it wasn't just the Romans. Consider the pathways along the Great Wall of China. While the wall itself is often celebrated as a defensive barrier, the roads that ran parallel to it played a crucial role in its effectiveness. These roads allowed for the rapid deployment of soldiers and resources, ensuring that the wall could function as more than just a static defense. They were a lifeline connecting watchtowers, garrisons, and supply depots across thousands of miles. Without them, the wall might have been little more than an imposing but ultimately vulnerable structure. What's fascinating is how these roads reveal the priorities of the civilizations that built them. They weren't just about conquering land, they were about holding it. Every stone laid, every path carved was a statement of control, a way to ensure that power could be projected and maintained over vast distances. Yet, despite our understanding of their military significance, these roads still hold mysteries. Why were some routes so meticulously maintained while others fell into disrepair? What logistical challenges did ancient engineers face, and how did they overcome them? And perhaps most intriguingly, what secrets might still lie hidden along these ancient paths, waiting to be uncovered? As we walk in the footsteps of ancient armies, it's worth reflecting on how these roads shaped the world we live in today. They weren't just tools of war, they were the foundations of empires, the veins through which history flowed. And even now, centuries later, they continue to tell stories of strategy, ambition, and the enduring human drive to conquer and connect. Now, let's journey to the Americas, where ancient roads carved into the landscape still whisper secrets of the past. Among the most intriguing are the paths left by the ancestral Pueblones and the Mississippian cultures. These roads, stretching across deserts, canyons, and forests, connected settlements, trade routes, and sacred sites. Yet, some of these pathways seem to lead to nowhere, abruptly ending in the wilderness or vanishing into the horizon without a clear destination. What could these enigmatic roads tell us about the people who built them? Take, for example, the ancestral Pueblones of the American Southwest. Their road networks, often called Great North Roads, radiate outward from their central hubs like Choco Canyon. These roads are remarkably straight, cutting through rugged terrain with precision. But here's the curious part: many of them don't connect to any known settlements or resources. Instead, they often terminate at natural features, cliffs, rock formations, or even empty expanses of desert. This has led researchers to wonder if these roads served a purpose beyond the practical. Could they have been pathways for spiritual journeys, guiding travelers to sacred spaces or celestial events? Similarly, the Mississippian culture, centered around the vast city of Cahokia, constructed wide, ceremonial roads known as causeways. These pathways linked the city's towering earthen mounds, but some extended far beyond the urban center, seemingly pointing to distant landmarks or natural wonders. Again, the question arises, were these roads purely functional or did they carry deeper meaning? Some scholars suggest they might have been tied to the Mississippians' cosmology, reflecting their beliefs about the connection between the earthly and the divine. What's fascinating is how these roads challenge our modern assumptions about transportation and infrastructure. Today, we build roads to get from point A to point B, but for these ancient cultures, the journey itself might have been as important as the destination. These roads could have been designed to honor the land, to map the stars, or to align with the rhythms of the seasons. They remind us that the past holds mysteries that don't always fit neatly into our understanding of the world. So, the next time you see an ancient road leading into the unknown, ask yourself, was it a practical route, a spiritual pathway, or perhaps a bit of both? These forgotten roads of the Americas invite us to look beyond the surface and consider the rich, symbolic worlds of the people who walked them. And as we explore these enigmatic trails, we're not just uncovering history, we're piecing together the stories of cultures who saw the world in ways we're only beginning to understand. Ancient roads were far more than mere paths carved into the earth. They were lifelines that connected distant worlds, fostering the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures. Imagine a vast network stretching across continents, where merchants, travelers, and scholars moved with purpose, carrying not just silk, spices, or amber, but something far more valuable: knowledge. These roads were the arteries of ancient civilizations, pumping life into societies and enabling them to thrive in ways that would have been impossible otherwise. Take the Silk Road, for instance. This legendary network of trade routes linked the East and West, spanning thousands of miles from China to the Mediterranean. It wasn't just about the silk that gave it its name, though that was certainly a prized commodity. Along these routes, spices, precious metals, and even exotic animals flowed between empires. But perhaps more importantly, ideas traveled too. Buddhism spread from India to China, while Greek art and philosophy influenced cultures as far east as Central Asia. The Silk Road was a melting pot of innovation, where the exchange of goods went hand in hand with the exchange of knowledge. Then there's the Amber Road, a lesser-known but equally fascinating trade route that connected the Baltic Sea to the Mediterranean. Amber, often called the gold of the North, was highly prized in ancient times for its beauty and supposed magical properties. This route not only facilitated the trade of amber, but also linked the peoples of Northern Europe with the sophisticated civilizations of the Mediterranean, creating a cultural bridge that shaped the development of both regions. But why were these roads so vital? Beyond the obvious economic benefits, they served as conduits for cultural and technological exchange. A new farming technique developed in one region could spread to another, revolutionizing agriculture. Artistic styles and religious beliefs traveled along these routes, blending and evolving as they moved. The roads didn't just connect places, they connected people, fostering a sense of shared humanity that transcended borders. Yet, for all we know about these ancient trade routes, mysteries remain. Why did some roads seem to lead nowhere, disappearing into the wilderness? Were they abandoned due to shifting trade priorities, or were they part of a larger network that we've yet to fully understand? And what stories lie buried beneath the dust of these forgotten paths, waiting to be uncovered? These questions remind us that, even today, the ancient roads hold secrets that continue to captivate historians and explorers alike. What's clear is that these networks were more than just practical infrastructure. They were the lifeblood of ancient civilizations, shaping the course of history in ways we're still discovering. As we walk in the footsteps of those who traveled these roads centuries ago, we're reminded of the incredible power of connection, whether through trade, culture, or the shared human desire to explore the unknown. Imagine walking along a path that was laid down over 5,000 years ago, a road so ancient it predates the pyramids of Egypt. This is the reality of the Sweet Track, a wooden walkway discovered in the wetlands of Somerset, England. Built around 3800 BCE, it's one of the oldest known roads in the world, a testament to human ingenuity in an era long before modern engineering. But here's the twist. While we know how old it is, we still don't fully understand why it was built or why it seems to lead to places that no longer hold any obvious significance. The Sweet Track is just one example of these enigmatic ancient roads. In Mesopotamia, often called the cradle of civilization, roads were constructed as early as 4000 BCE, connecting cities and trade routes across vast distances. These pathways were marvels of their time, using materials like baked bricks and bitumen to withstand the elements. Yet, even here, there are stretches of road that seem to go nowhere, abandoned sections that leave archaeologists scratching their heads. What purpose did they serve? Were they part of a larger network that's been lost to time, or were they built for reasons we simply can't comprehend today? Dating these ancient roads is no easy task. Archaeologists rely on techniques like dendrochronology, the study of tree rings, to determine the age of wooden structures like the Sweet Track. But even with these advanced methods, there's still a degree of uncertainty. Preservation is another challenge. Many of these roads were built in environments that have changed dramatically over millennia. Wetlands have dried up, rivers have shifted course, and entire landscapes have been altered by human activity. These changes make it difficult to piece together the full picture of how these roads were used and why some sections were abandoned. What's fascinating is how these ancient roads reflect the technological and social advancements of their time. The Sweet Track, for example, was constructed using carefully split oak planks, showing a level of craftsmanship that suggests a highly organized society. Similarly, the roads of Mesopotamia reveal a deep understanding of materials and engineering, with some sections designed to handle heavy traffic from carts and livestock. Yet, despite these impressive feats, there's an air of mystery surrounding them. Why did these civilizations invest so much effort into building roads that sometimes lead to nowhere? Were they part of religious or ceremonial routes, or did they serve a purpose that's been lost to history? These ancient roads are more than just pathways, they're windows into the minds of our ancestors. They show us how early societies solved problems, connected with one another, and adapted to their environments. But they also remind us that not everything about the past can be neatly explained. Some mysteries, like the purpose of these ancient roads, may never be fully solved, and perhaps that's part of what makes them so captivating. As we continue unraveling the mystery of ancient roads that lead nowhere, it's impossible to ignore the role of climate change in shaping their fate. Picture this: vast networks of roads, once bustling with traders, travelers, and armies, now lying silent under layers of sand or swallowed by encroaching deserts. These roads weren't just abandoned on a whim, they were victims of a changing world, one where the environment shifted dramatically, leaving civilizations with no choice but to adapt or collapse. Take the Sahara Desert, for example. Thousands of years ago, this region wasn't the barren expanse we see today. It was a lush, green landscape crisscrossed by roads that connected thriving communities. But as the climate began to change, rainfall patterns shifted, and the Sahara gradually transformed into the arid desert we know. Roads that once served as lifelines for trade and communication were left to the mercy of the sands, becoming little more than faint traces in the earth. A similar story unfolds in the Indus Valley, one of the world's earliest civilizations. The people here built an impressive network of roads and infrastructure, but around 4,000 years ago, something changed. Scientists believe that a prolonged drought, possibly triggered by shifting monsoons, devastated the region. Rivers dried up, crops failed, and entire cities were abandoned. The roads that once connected bustling urban centers were left to crumble, their purpose rendered obsolete by a climate that no longer supported the civilization they served. What makes these stories especially compelling is their relevance today. Climate change isn't just a modern issue, it's a force that has shaped human history for millennia. The ancient roads we've been exploring serve as stark reminders of what can happen when environments shift beyond a society's ability to adapt. And while our modern world has advanced technology and resources, the lessons from these ancient civilizations are clear. Climate change can disrupt even the most well-planned systems, leaving behind ghostly reminders of what once was. So, what can we learn from these ancient roads? They remind us that the environment is a powerful force, one that can dictate the rise and fall of civilizations. They also challenge us to think about how we're managing our own infrastructure in the face of a changing climate. Will the roads we build today stand the test of time, or will they too become relics of a bygone era? The answer lies in how we respond to the challenges ahead, lessons from the past, written in the dust of ancient roads that lead nowhere. But how do we uncover the secrets of roads that have been buried by time, nature, and human activity? This is where modern archaeology steps in, armed with cutting-edge technology that feels almost like science fiction. Take LiDAR, for example, a tool that uses laser pulses to map the ground beneath dense forests and vegetation. It's like peeling back layers of history, revealing roads and pathways that were invisible to the naked eye for centuries. And then there's ground-penetrating radar, which sends electromagnetic waves deep into the earth, creating a kind of X-ray vision for archaeologists. Together, these tools have unlocked hidden networks of roads that once connected ancient civilizations, challenging long-held assumptions about how these societies moved and interacted. What's truly fascinating is how these discoveries are rewriting the story of the past. Roads that were once thought to lead nowhere are now being seen as vital links in a much larger system: trade routes, pilgrimage paths, or even escape routes during times of conflict. And it's not just about the roads themselves. Archaeologists are uncovering artifacts, settlements, and even entire cities along these forgotten paths, painting a richer picture of ancient life. But solving these mysteries isn't a one-person job. It takes a team: historians, geologists, climatologists, and even computer scientists working together to piece together the puzzle. This kind of interdisciplinary research is proving to be the key to unlocking the secrets of the past, and it's giving us hope that even more discoveries lie just beneath the surface, waiting to be found. But why would ancient civilizations build roads that seemingly lead nowhere? To answer that, we need to step into the minds of those who came before us, minds shaped by myths, legends, and the belief that the physical world was deeply intertwined with the spiritual. Roads in many ancient cultures weren't just pathways for travel, they were bridges between realms, connecting the living with the divine, the earthly with the eternal. Take, for example, the Greek myth of the road to Hades. In this tale, the underworld wasn't just a distant, unreachable place, it was a destination, one that required a journey. The ancient Greeks envisioned a literal road leading to the realm of the dead, a path that souls would travel after death. This belief didn't just exist in stories, it shaped how they viewed the physical world. Roads leading to burial sites or sacred groves were often constructed with great care, mirroring the mythical journey to the afterlife. These paths weren't just functional, they were symbolic, carrying the weight of cultural and spiritual significance. Similarly, the Native American Trail of Tears, though a tragic historical event, also reflects the deep connection between roads and mythology. For many tribes, the land itself was sacred, and the act of moving across it was imbued with spiritual meaning. The Trail of Tears, while forced and devastating, became a symbolic journey of endurance and survival, echoing older myths of migrations and sacred pathways. Roads in this context weren't just about movement, they were about identity, memory, and the stories that define a people. These examples reveal something profound. Roads in the ancient world were more than just engineering feats. They were expressions of belief, reflections of how people understood their place in the cosmos. A road that seems to lead nowhere might, in fact, be a road to somewhere far more important, a sacred site, a mythological destination, or a place of spiritual significance. By exploring these connections, we gain a deeper appreciation for the cultural and symbolic layers embedded in ancient roadways. They weren't just built to connect cities or trade routes, they were built to connect worlds. And as we continue to unravel these mysteries, we're reminded that the past is never truly lost. It lives on in the stories we tell, the roads we walk, and the legends that guide us. As we stand on the brink of a new era in historical exploration, the future of ancient road research looks more promising than ever. Advances in technology are opening doors that were once firmly shut, allowing us to peer into the past with unprecedented clarity. From ground-penetrating radar that reveals hidden structures beneath our feet to satellite imagery that maps vast landscapes in stunning detail, these tools are transforming how we study the remnants of ancient civilizations. What once required years of painstaking excavation can now be achieved with remarkable precision, giving researchers the ability to uncover secrets that have lain dormant for centuries. But it's not just technology driving this resurgence of interest. A growing fascination with historical mysteries has sparked a renewed passion for uncovering the stories behind these enigmatic roads. Archaeologists, historians, and even amateur enthusiasts are banding together in ambitious projects aimed at solving the puzzles left behind by our ancestors. Take, for example, the ongoing efforts to map the ancient Incan road network in South America, known as the Quihapac-Ñan. Stretching across thousands of miles, this intricate system of pathways has long baffled researchers, but modern techniques are now shedding light on its purpose and significance. Similarly, in Europe, teams are using LiDAR technology to uncover forgotten Roman roads, revealing how these ancient routes shaped the development of entire regions. The beauty of this work lies in its collaborative nature. Universities, museums, and independent researchers are pooling their expertise and resources, creating a global network of discovery. Crowdfunding campaigns and public outreach initiatives are also playing a crucial role, allowing ordinary people to contribute to these groundbreaking projects. It's a reminder that history isn't just the domain of scholars, it belongs to all of us, and each new discovery has the power to rewrite the stories we thought we knew. And here's the exciting part, we're only scratching the surface. Every year, new roads and pathways are uncovered, each one offering fresh insights into the lives of those who built and traveled them. Who knows what we might find next, perhaps a lost trade route that reshapes our understanding of ancient economies, or a ceremonial path that reveals the spiritual practices of a forgotten culture. The possibilities are endless, and the thrill of discovery is what keeps researchers and hopefully you hooked. So, what can we take away from all this? For one, it's a reminder that history is never truly static. As long as we keep exploring, questioning, and innovating, our understanding of the past will continue to evolve. And who knows, the next big breakthrough might just come from an unexpected place, maybe even from someone watching this very video. After all, curiosity is the spark that ignites discovery, and there's never been a better time to dive into the mysteries of ancient roads. Stay curious, stay engaged, and who knows what secrets you might help uncover. These ancient roads, winding through landscapes and leading seemingly nowhere, are far more than just relics of the past. They are windows into the ingenuity and resourcefulness of the civilizations that built them. What can these mysterious pathways tell us about the people who walked them thousands of years ago? For starters, they challenge the very assumptions we often make about ancient societies. These roads weren't just functional, they were feats of engineering, symbols of ambition, and perhaps even expressions of cultural identity. They remind us that our ancestors were far more sophisticated and capable than we sometimes give them credit for. Consider this: many of these roads were constructed without the advanced tools or technologies we rely on today. Yet they endure, carved into mountainsides, stretching across deserts, or hidden beneath dense forests. Their existence forces us to rethink what we know about ancient innovation. Were these roads built for trade, pilgrimage, or something more mysterious? The answers are still buried in the layers of time, waiting to be uncovered. And that's what makes them so fascinating. They invite us to question, to explore, and to imagine. But these roads aren't just about the past. They hold a mirror to our present and future, too. They remind us of the importance of preserving cultural heritage. These ancient pathways are fragile, vulnerable to the pressures of modern development, climate change, and even neglect. Losing them would mean losing a piece of our collective story, a story that connects us to the resilience and creativity of those who came before us. By protecting these roads, we ensure that future generations can continue to unravel their mysteries, just as we are doing today. And let's not forget the broader implications of these discoveries. Every time we uncover a new section of an ancient road or decipher its purpose, we're adding another chapter to human history. These roads are more than just physical structures. They're testaments to the enduring human spirit. They show us that no matter how distant or different ancient civilizations may seem, they were driven by the same curiosity and determination that fuels us today. In that sense, these mysterious roads are a bridge not just between places, but between times, connecting us to the dreams and aspirations of our ancestors. So, what do these roads ultimately tell us? They remind us that history is alive, filled with stories waiting to be told. They challenge us to look beyond the surface, to question what we think we know, and to appreciate the incredible legacy left behind by those who walked the earth long before us. And perhaps most importantly, they inspire us to keep searching, to keep learning, and to keep preserving the wonders of our shared human journey. As we reach the end of our journey through the enigmatic world of ancient roads that lead nowhere, it's worth taking a moment to reflect on what we've uncovered. These mysterious pathways, carved into the earth by civilizations long gone, are more than just remnants of the past. They're windows into the ingenuity and ambition of our ancestors. They remind us that history is rarely straightforward, and that even the most puzzling artifacts can tell profound stories about the human experience. What makes these roads so captivating is their defiance of easy explanation. Unlike well-documented trade routes or military highways, these paths seem to have no clear purpose or destination. Were they ceremonial, symbolic, or perhaps part of a grand vision that was never fully realized? The answers remain elusive, and that's part of their charm. They challenge us to think beyond the obvious, to consider the possibility that ancient peoples saw the world in ways we're only beginning to understand. These roads also serve as a powerful reminder of the creativity and resourcefulness of past cultures. Without modern tools or technology, they managed to create structures that have endured for centuries, if not millennia. Their work speaks to a deep connection with the land and a willingness to dream big, even in the face of uncertainty. In many ways, these roads are a testament to the enduring human spirit, a spirit that thrives on exploration, innovation, and the pursuit of meaning. As we close this chapter, let's carry forward the sense of wonder these ancient roads inspire. They're not just relics, they're invitations to explore, to question, and to connect with the stories of those who came before us. As the historian Daniel Boorstin once said, "The greatest obstacle to discovery is not ignorance, it is the illusion of knowledge." Let these roads remind us to stay curious, to look beyond the surface, and to embrace the mysteries that make history so endlessly fascinating. If this journey has sparked your curiosity, let us know in the comments below. What do you think these roads were meant to achieve, and what other historical mysteries would you like us to explore in future videos? Don't forget to subscribe and join us as we continue to uncover the hidden stories that shape our world. Until next time, keep exploring, because the past is full of surprises waiting to be discovered.